Okay, first of all, thank you so much for joining us and watching this video. Marcus and I of Dillon CPAs, so Marcus Dillon, Rachel Dillon of Dillon CPAs, wanted to just let you guys know that there are some planning opportunities that can be done here at the end of 2020. Wanted to get word directly from the expert, Marcus, and find out exactly what can be done, even though we are in the middle of uncertain times for 2020.
So given all the uncertainty that we're in this last quarter of the year, and you may hear different things from different folks, given even the day or the week that we know, still looking at things coming out of Washington with so many of our business clients, waiting on the taxability, just further decisions on what the nature of that income they received or those loans they received, whether it's PPP or EIDL or all that fun stuff. Our main talking point right now to folks is just to be educated on your exact situation, on where you're at today. So I know our office right now is doing a lot of tax projections going into the last few months of the year. Just that way they know where they stand, what potential tax liability could be, and then knowing exactly what tax bracket you're in. That way you can assess what opportunities, what those are actually worth to you. So if you thought, hey, I can go out and buy $100,000 of equipment and I'm going to get 37 cents on the dollar because I'm in a 37% tax bracket, but then, hey, we run the projection and you're only in the 24% tax bracket. Well, that may not be a great decision to push through before the end of the year, especially if tax rates rise in 2020 in the future. And so I think just being educated is our main talking point. So obviously tax projections are a big part of what we're doing right now at this time of year. So
what might you need from someone to do a tax projection? What are you looking at to determine that?
So we look at what income sources, what withholding sources have been kind of done up until this point, and then we annualize those for the remainder 2 months of the year. And so it's just kind of putting together a projection based on the best data we have possible to today. So if you own a business, we're projecting out financial, given the financial work that we're doing for you throughout the year. And then on the personal side, looking at dividends, looking at wages, looking at all the good stuff, and annualizing those through the end of the year, just to make sure, one, to save you from interest and penalty for doing under withholding, but really then two, just to educate you on what tax bracket you're in, what any opportunities could be worth to you in this quarter, and then does it make sense, given the uncertainty, to use the cash to secure that tax deduction, or do we value that cash much more than potentially a new piece of equipment or that expense that we were going to push through? So
anything, if someone knows their income, they know their withholding, they know what quarterly estimates they paid, but their income is higher than, say, last year. Yeah. So they're in a position where maybe they should do something before the end of the year. What's something as far as low-hanging fruit that they might consider?
Sure. So always look at retirement plan vehicles, deductions there, maxing out your pre-tax deferral, your employee deferral. So depending on the retirement plan you may have, whatever options you already have. And then some folks, you could do an IRA, a SEP IRA, depending on what your income sources are. So I think retirement planning we love because that stays a part of your net worth and doesn't go outside of the family, so to speak. So love the fact that you could get a deduction for, just putting it into another long-term savings account, like a retirement account. The other thing is just evaluating really business decisions, things that you were gonna buy or do, like bonuses. That's always great, especially if you were gonna reward employees or team members for 2020 and all that we've kind of gone through. We're almost to the finish line. So, but evaluating piece of equipment, like obviously only buy stuff you need and may either make your job easier or produce additional revenue because of that piece of equipment. So that's a lot that we're balancing right now, build outs, all that good stuff with folks. So there are opportunities there, but just being educated on what that opportunity is really worth to you is the main thing that we're trying to hit across the finish line.
And then again, being in the time of year that we are, coming up here on Thanksgiving, coming up on Christmas, anything as far as from a generosity standpoint that people could do that could potentially help out maybe that they would want to do, especially in this year.
Sure. So I think anything with charitable giving, because of the CARES Act and the 100% deduction now with giving to a charity, if you feel led to give, there is that tax deduction if you do see that silver lining in it. I think the main thing to just has to make sense with your overall giving plan, with your overall cash flow plan. And there are vehicles to look at with donor advised funds, and you may have some appreciated stock and you want to get into that fund and fund that charitable contribution for a few years. Those are all the things that we talk through in a tax plan. And so the other big thing that came out of the CARES Act for our folks that are at a IRA where they're drawing out distributions is the RMD, required minimum distribution, may not need to be actually pulled out in 2020 at this point. You can actually defer that to a future point. So I think all of it is obviously it's being smart about your decisions, knowing exactly what your tax situation could be, and making the decision that's the best for you and your family. That's really our goal.
So again, I know a lot of times people have tax planning questions, accounting questions that they think is going to be like a black and white, yes or no, real quick answer. But the reality of that is it's very specific to your situation, to your future goals, to your current situation, and making sure that we're helping you just become familiar with, get educated on, and make confident decisions. And so if you don't have a professional that you're already working with, our office is available. Feel free to give us a call, 281-578-2002. You can ask for Rachel or Marcus. I'm typically first line of defense, so would be happy to talk through that with you if there's something that you're concerned about or have questions on. We always recommend asking a professional rather than maybe a Facebook group or a Google, just so you know for sure that you're getting the right answers.
Yeah.
So any last comments?
No, I think given the world of uncertainty that we're all coming out of, hopefully, and just the folks that you trust, the folks that you rely on, your team of advisors, we are so blessed to be in the seat of an advisor for so many folks. But also tap your financial advisor, tap your attorney. Everyone is just trying to advise their clients, their family as best they can. And so it's really a joint effort between those professionals with us. And so I think it's mainly we give a small fraction of the advice. It has to make sense with your overall business, with your overall family estate plan. But we would love to talk to you. If you have any questions, we would love to get those answered in the next few days, few weeks before we get too far into the holiday season. As you can see, like our office is actually good to go. Santa's on his way sometime soon, I hope. So, but yeah, that's really where we're at. Is let's get you educated